Hey y'all, it's episode 16 of Around the Mage Table, the podcast for the rest of us. I am your host, Frank, and I'm joined by Technique. How you doing today, Technique?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Scrapclaw, how are you doing today?
Doing good.
Good. And Shawnee, after all those vicious attacks on our our comments on YouTube, how are you feeling?
Who was?
I feel great. I'm glad we had something that was engaging for people to talk about, and hopefully we pull another thing out that people are very interested in.
Oh,
that is a hill I'll die on.
Also. I am going to actually really quickly pull up, and I'm going to keep the banter going. Just so you know, Scrap, we were told that we were brain dead for thinking that it was free.
I agree.
So hold on.
You agree we're brain dead?
Brain dead. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I know you guys do. You're on the other side of it.
I want
AP News as a favorite on your browser. Yeah, you're brain dead.
Well, first off, this is my secondary browser, so I don't know what that has anything to do with it. But my poll that I put up after the podcast last week, all right, had 69 votes. Nice. All right, that is
nice.
pretty healthy. We don't usually see those kind of numbers on our posts.
I know, I forgot to vote.
Oh, well, don't worry. Take a guess at who won. Is it free or not?
It was
a
free.
It was a 55-45% vote split. No, it's not one vote.
It's free by one vote?
No, it's not.
No, that's what I'm guessing.
Okay, I was like, Technique, we could have made a difference. They always tell you.
It was a 55-45% split to people saying in the majority that yes, it is considered free. So we, the brain dead, rule the world, Shawnee.
Well, that's a fact. There's a lot of dumbass people out there.
So there's definitely
two of them were wrong,
especially on YouTube.
They weren't us.
Okay, so what's on?
Yeah.
Go on.
I feel vindicated, Frank.
What's on your mind, Scrap?
I said I believe in whoever wrote the comment, and it may or may not have been me. So
that we're brain dead. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how we attack each other now.
Yeah, through the YouTube comments, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so on the docket today, there wasn't much news coming into tonight that I was a little anxious about the podcast today, but we got a lot of conversations going on about some changes to tanking, and there's some changes to healing, it looks like, as well, but we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get to it. But what I wanted to plan to talk about was the pre-patch. So if you guys are ready, we can go and jump straight into that. And we'll start with pre-patch next Tuesday, July 23rd. And we've got some major features coming with it, so let's go over it real quick. Warbands will launch. Now, Scrap, you have been told a little bit about this. I know, Shawnee, you're really excited about this. But truth be told, is it really that big of a deal going into the pre-patch to have the Warbands yet? I mean, is there really anything you're going to gain out of it?
I mean, people that have portals will not have them on all their characters, and they don't feel that big urge to do that. You'll have all your flight pass. All your currencies will come together that are across all your tunes. You get your bank. You get your Warband bank. You get your reps.
That'll be big. The Warband bank. Thank you for pointing.
And
that
you get your reps across your characters. So if there was ones that were like, the Transmog comes in. Also, it starts in the pre-patch. So
we'll have a separate section to talk about that in just a second. But good overview there. Thank you, Shawnee. Now, there's a Visions of Azeroth quest event that will, I think, slowly, I assume, tell what is going to lead us into War Within. I don't think we'll see anything about Dalaran, right? I don't think so, or at least not until like maybe the week before the beta hits. But I was curious because it says you have to complete the final chapter of the Dragonflight questline. I'm not sure what that chapter is. Is that the chapter of like the
you did it like 6 months ago.
Yeah, but no,
I'm
probably
sure I didn't.
You probably did it like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago.
Oh, of the storyline?
I don't know. That's what I'm curious about.
Oh, fuck, I don't know.
There's no storyline in Dragonflight.
Someone who hasn't read any quests.
We wanted to talk about lore today, and look, we're already off to a good start.
Yeah.
Skyriding will be implemented, which means that all our mounts that weren't dragons to begin with will now be able to do skyriding. I can't wait to take the bee out for a ride. Scrap, do you have an idea of which mount you're going to use skyriding with first?
No, but I'm gonna line them up and try all of them and find out who has the best animations. I mean, I've seen a couple from the preview, I remember being really stoked about like Halandris was hilarious. Mimiron's head was really funny. I love the unicorns. It's just like they look crazy. So I'm gonna line them all up. It's gonna take me a good solid hour and just run through all of them.
Okay, looking forward. Can we do like a March Madness tournament style to like bracket it out for everyone?
Do you want me to just stream it while I quietly just check all my mounts? Like occasionally
with
I'll
a
clear my
spreadsheet
throat.
next to it with a check or not?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And then we got the Answer the Call of the Radiant Echoes, which we'll go into a little more detail here. That doesn't start this Tuesday. It starts the week after. However, pre-patch events used to be a big deal, so I kind of want to talk about this for a second. But before we talk about all that stuff, let's talk about what you need to do before the pre-patch comes.
Oh, this is good. Write this down for me.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's somewhere it's written down, I feel.
So it sounds like now because they plan on doing this when Season 4 originally launched. They said they were going to do this, that after, I think it was 2 runs of the raids rotating. So, Vault, and then the other 2, and then Vault again, and the other 2. Then they were all going to open. It sounds like they're now all going to open officially as part of the pre-patch. All the things that you get with it, like the Razageth mounts skin, the Farok skin, any of the achievements for, I think, Cutting Edge will no longer be in play, or at least not, like a 1% drop rate instead of what the guaranteed drop rate might be already. Mm-hmm. Mythic Plus ends officially 10 p.m., so that's 1 a.m. our time in the East Coast, on July 22nd, so that's Monday. So we can't even do Midnight Keys that night. So Scrap, you got to get your points in now. Well,
you'll stop bugging me to come do keys then. That's perfect.
Elden Ring is a great game. I won't deny it, right?
Yeah.
I'm on a Tears of the Kingdom kick right now, but I still run keys with the boys. What are you doing?
I haven't opened my vault in like 3 weeks. I'm done. I'm done with the season.
You haven't done it since
I'm
like
over
Japan.
Yeah, actually, that's probably about right. Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah.
And Shani, as our resident PvP expert, you get that gladiator title?
No, I didn't. I've fell off in my quest to be the lord of PvP.
Well, speaking
Frank, what about? Oh, sorry. Go on.
No.
No, I was going to ask about the Pandaria. When can you stop leveling guys there?
Great question. August 19th, which is when this episode will post, should be exactly a month away.
Okay.
So yeah, the reason I looked that up is because I was curious. As part of the Radiant Echoes campaign, which we'll go and transition to right now, I'm going to do this actual one. So part of the Radiant Echoes, you can get gear for catch up, which is great. Prep your alts that may have not gotten any gear to get ready for leveling in the War Within. And this is your standard pre-patch content. Again, starts the 30th. It goes through the 26th. So there will be a week overlap of where your WoW Remix Pandaria characters will be in the game and able to use this. That's why I looked it up. I just wanted to know.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what I was curious about.
Yep. And I should say, while it's on the fresh of my mind, there's a huge leveling change coming on Tuesday. It is to the point where I think from 60 to 70, the leveling experience required is dropped by like 75%. So right now I have my Demon Hunter in WoW Remix just at like 66 or something like that. And it like definitely slows down immensely at that level range, but as of Tuesday, should go by like that. I'm curious to see if leveling in general will be significantly faster in Remix, not only with obviously the 100% increase that you get to start with if you already level something, but I still want to level that Hunter, so if you still need to do your Death Knight.
I do, yeah. I mean, I've talked about it for weeks now, but I'll wait now.
Well, till Tuesday, of course, right?
Right. And Tuesday, I'm gonna hit the payment right away.
Let's see. I'd be curious. Tuesday, maybe before our next episode, maybe we see how quickly we can level, because I really do feel like it'll be like multiple levels per quest.
Let's race. I'm tanking.
Well, yeah, but we're gonna run together, so we're not racing because we'll be there.
No, let's not run together. Let's race and see who can go faster.
You'll be a tank. Okay. Anyways,
I don't know how to tank.
Frank,
I'll wipe everything.
Yes, technique.
Question. So scroll up just a touch there. It looks like this pre-expansion content is just like some stuff to do to get loot for your.
So there's an heirloom. Here, let's scroll down to the rewards first.
The topic I want to begin here is, wouldn't it be nice if you like had to unlock something so that the expansion could happen? Like it used to be.
You want an attunement?
Sort of. I mean, the expansion's coming when it comes anyway, but it would be cool to like have an attunement style event that you're like, let's work together as a Azerothian or whatever the hell.
All you gotta do is unlock your purse and pay for the expansion, and you're in.
Right.
I like that.
Well, they've never. I mean, I'm trying to remember because there've definitely been events where you unlock things like the Sunwell Isle, and then
on Karash had to be unlocked as a server. Yeah. The Black Temple not Black Temple, but to get into Burning Crusade, you had to like open the gate as a server.
That's really cool, but I don't think they even know what the story of War Within is going to be yet. So,
who's they?
Yeah,
the writers.
They fired the writers.
You are getting toxic by the week. I swear.
We only have CEOs left at the company.
They only have the next 3 expansions pretty much planned out. But whatever,
It's real quick. Let's talk about this in full before we dive into the nitty gritty. Tons of obviously gear to level up with your alts. So that's cool. And there are 3 mounts: a River Paw, a Construct, and a Spawn. No, those are companions. Sorry, a Wind Rider, a Golden Griffin, and a nope, just 2. Okay, 2 mounts, and they are in the same color scheme as you see like these mobs in right here. So one's a Griffin, one's a what are those things called? I just said
Wind Rider.
Wind Rider. And so what it'll work is, looks like it just cycles every 90, 60, and 30 minutes depending on the weeks that you're in the event. And there'll be 3 phases or stages. Stage 1, kill memories, congealed memories. Stage 2, there's 6 random events that are active in the zone. Find them on your map and interact with them, I guess, kind of like hunts, I would assume. And then a boss spawns, and one of them's, I guess, the Lich King, one of them's Onyxia, and one of them is Ragnaros.
With saturation and cranked all the way up.
Okay. Kind of looks like it's photoshopped in on this one. And then there's something to do with the cities. I'm not quite sure. So once the Radiant Echoes have subsided, players can return to Dalaran or stay with the zone to slay more memories. That's the timer zone will still be active. I guess that's to farm the residual memories. And then you can use it to go into the cities. Players who purchase the Lifeless Stone. Oh, okay. You go into collect memories from the events. And I guess throughout Dalaran, Dragonblight, Dustwallow March, and Searing Gorge. And you build up a artifact ring, which I don't even think artifacts or not artifacts with it. Heirlooms. Heirloom ring. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You build up an heirloom ring. But I don't even think, like, are heirlooms still a thing? I mean, I know they are, but...
Yeah, you can get the XP boost.
You can, but nobody
I have a
needs
handful of them. Yeah, you really don't need
them. When I level, like, a brand new character, I use it, but that's it.
Yeah, but ones that you already have, right? Like, do you go out and find...
Yeah, ones already had.
Yeah,
you don't have to get new ones. No, there is no new ones.
Well, there is now. There's a ring.
Yeah, because I think there was only, if I remember right, there is only like kind of 1 ring, but there's like variations on it. I don't think there was 2. I think the ring was like the captain's ring you got from
maybe
the mission table when you had the boats and WAD.
They kept that one locked up.
I'm a little concerned with this just because, like, I feel like, as Technique pointed out earlier, the events that used to happen in, Burning Crusade, and I remember the Lich King one where the cities were overrun and a plague was spreading, they felt like they meant something and that they actually, like, the world was changing around them. And they definitely don't do that anymore. And I'm surprised because I felt like those events of all of them were the ones that people got excited for. Like, we had that Zerla, was it Zerla Cavern? No, what's the cavern or the vaults that we had to go through in the Forgotten Isles? Where the
I love that. The key vaults.
Yeah, what was that place called? You guys know what I'm talking about.
Zascara vaults.
Is that it? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. That was a hoot, man. I was hitting that every day.
Why don't they come out with something like that for pre-patch?
Again, this is all very, upsetting.
You already got started.
You're gonna get me started, but like I'm adding things on top of it. It's not just the login screen. There's a lot of this expansion so far feels very cheap. Yep.
But but in fairness, I can agree with you on the login screen, although while I don't think it's as big as a deal as you do. But this is not uncommon for expansions now. This is what Dragonflight did. This is what
it's an indicator. It's a harbinger of what's to come.
I wouldn't be surprised. And I want to take a second and defend something too, because you came after the art team. Scrap.
I did.
One of the zones, Hallowfall, is without a doubt. I know you're going to absolutely fall in love with. It is one of the most gorgeous looking. Well, the other
Out of how
zones have
many?
different vibes that I don't necessarily like the I don't like Spider and Ruby and stuff.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the others because I've seen Hollowfall through the dungeon, Dawnbreaker. But I'm purposely not leveling for the first time because I don't want to ruin it. But yeah, like the art team definitely has put their energy somewhere else, and I feel like you'll give them credit hopefully later. But
I mean, I've always said the art team is like the backbone of World of Warcraft. Like, it's always fantastic. So I'm hoping it comes together.
You have a right to be upset with the tier sets. I don't think that they slapped them together though. I think they did intentionally want what they got.
They made them bad on purpose.
No. You say that.
What? No,
Scrap.
I will say.
I don't understand.
No, really, like looking at the wings on the paladin. Who thought those were a good idea?
Well, seeing them in motion.
No, the thing is that they definitely put energy into it though because they animated the wings.
Well,
like,
just whoever
they're attached to the shoulders. They don't move, right?
Just a second, the whole like transmog thing. Like we have this whole pre-event event for transmogs. I hope to God they're at least half as good.
No, look at scroll down. It looked like a recolor.
Oh, wait, do they even have?
Is that it? That's a recolor.
I guess so.
No, that's a recolor of current stuff. That's old
stuff.
It's
not a recolor. Yeah, of old stuff. It's a recolor of old stuff.
Well,
I don't know. Just whoever did those wings should be shot. And
yeah, but in the same vein, that
same
same team also made the Hallowfall gear. Remember how much we like that gear?
Yeah, I love that.
I think that they just like they said, hey, what would a paladin in a spider suit look like? And they're just like, I don't know. And that's like what happened.
They put their fucking interns on the main tier sets. What they did.
Yeah.
Or their kids.
AI art, like you said last week. That.
Oh yeah, they Midjourney did it.
I remember hearing that. And I was going, man, why didn't I defend them? Hollowfall is amazing.
Okay,
yeah, but like what's crazy
in Midjourney then? I don't know.
Is the not tier set like the World Quest type set is great.
Yeah,
remember we saw it.
That.
We were all like,
so good.
And it's like, how do you make that? And then like you roll into the tier sets, like
because again, I think that they intentionally said this is what we wanted. And again, you can hate it. I'm not here to defend that. I'm just saying, I don't think that they like diluted their funds to give them the money to make a tier set.
What are they spending the tier set funds
in
on?
Hallowfall, in that gorgeous crystal in the sky that looks amazing.
Damn, I want a financial breakdown.
I can't wait. I can't wait till you get to see it. Yeah. Anyways,
on topic.
No, that's what a podcast is all about, right? We're not a news show, Shonald.
I mean, we'll just let me get back on topic real quick.
Okay.
How long is pre-patch? Like a month?
Yeah, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna be done with this shit in a day.
You will be, yeah. Well, to a degree,
feel like you're gonna do it.
Like I'm gonna touch it.
If you want, like, so if you want this mount, it looks like it's gonna take some time, right?
Let me see what the mount looks like. Pull it up.
Nobody wants the mount.
Yeah, let me see the mount.
Radiant Griffin. I'm gonna. I just misspelled Griffin.
Safe search on.
I just misspelled Griffin horrifically.
Dude, I mean, there's about 30 ways.
On top left.
Persona. It's cool. Go to WoW mounts.
Oh.
Is that it?
No, there's not.
They don't even have a picture of it.
This is what I think. Well, close to what it looks like.
Oh,
I can't even put a picture of it on.
Kind of like the. I bet the effects look cool on it.
I'll put a screenshot of it up.
Put a screenshot. They don't need to see what this looks like. You know what? The effects look like it'll probably be pretty cool. But I mean, I'm not gonna. It's just a griffin.
Well, and again, you said like, let's say you level your DK, or you've got what did you level in Remix? Was it a druid?
A monk.
A monk. So you might want to. If I don't think you're gonna play your monk next expansion.
Nah, I mean monk was fine, but I didn't like it better than the other 5 melee DPS classes.
But in fairness, how often did you engage these pre-patch events, anyways? Like that was going to be my point a second ago. Is like the reason maybe they pulled the energy from these is because maybe people aren't engaging with like I thought they did.
Yeah, but if they're cutting Mythic Plus, what are they expecting people to do for a month? Damn, I wish I didn't have a 6 months subscription for that mount. I would cancel it for a month.
They locked you in now, so you're not even gonna play for a month.
No, I'm locked in.
For it.
So final verdict is who cares?
I mean, I care because I'm gonna do it on all my characters just to get them geared up to 480 or in a bit.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah.
And it shares all the currency, right? So it'll help you get them out.
Yeah. Warbands, I assume so.
It does drop gold because I might be in for that. I'm completely out.
I'm sure you can sell stuff.
You're gonna join. Oh wait. Oh, does
do the guilds happen?
Oh, that's a good question.
Pull it
Let
up.
me Google it right now.
Can we merge the guilds?
Cross realm.
I know they're getting rid of the service.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. Wowhead, I think, had an article of everything that is actually officially coming out. Let me look for it real quick.
Dude, that'd be hype. We could spend a month working on the guild tabard.
Here we go. So, cross realm guilds. Cross realm guilds come out.
Okay, that's kind of hype.
Yeah. So,
I'll be in a guild again.
There we go. So officially Tuesday, if you want to join the Mythic Dungeon League
Guild,
work
on some funds for the guild bank because I'm gonna be spending shit right away.
No. So let me ask you guys your opinion on that because I've started amassing all my gold into one Frankenberry to get them ready. How much gold do you think I need to have ready?
For what?
For my repairs.
For guild repairs.
I just
the guild will get gold through guild events. Don't worry about it.
I don't think it'll get that much gold.
Dude, Lithian
Technique,
and
by
I
the way,
have
you're
a guild.
slowly inching to your right, just drifting away.
My buddy Lithian and I, he's been on the podcast before. Like, he made a guild and like I joined it. It's just us, and I just kind of like shake him down for repairs. He put like 50K in there for repairs, and we drained that bitch in like less than a season. Like halfway through the season,
50K is nothing. Yeah, 50K is nothing.
Yeah, no.
But I was how many millions?
Yeah, you need like millions, man. You need millions on millions. I'm gonna be.
Depends. Is scrap gonna be in the guild?
Yes.
Yeah.
I assume.
My repairs are not cheap.
All I have to say is put a cap on how much people can use
a day.
Just leave it turned off for the first couple until we start raiding. Leave it turned off.
If we're gonna, how about here's a question of the week for the audience. What's a fair daily cap for repairs?
Put a comment in on how much gold do you think I need to have ready for scrap plus repairs.
This part of it, yeah.
And I would have it.
What's a reasonable?
I would have it, constrained to raider tiered players. Anyway, it's probably not podcast content.
All right. Well, speaking of which, Warbands will also launch with the pre-patch. Shawnee, you are, I think, a resident expert on this. So, I feel like I've seen it on the beta. You two have seen it, except for Scrap has not. But it inherently is already amazing. We all know it's going to be amazing. But there are little things that we may not know about. I forgot that the Warbound bank will be available. That's going to be huge for me because I'm very organized. What else?
I will say it's very expensive though. Like you get the first tab for free, but as you go through the tabs, it is crazy expensive.
What's the second tab cost?
I don't even remember.
I know the most expensive costs $2 million.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's that one. So I think when you get to to get all the tabs, it was something like 8 million, maybe less, but it was more than I would.
It's like 4 million, I think.
I don't even use any of my banks on any of my characters. What the hell are you storing forever?
I do. My banks are just full of garbage.
Yeah. Now
all of your reagents. What?
You don't play any alts though.
No. Why would I?
I know it's crazy to think, but there's other people who play the game aside from you.
Do not.
New comment from the YouTube comments. Why would you play alts, you idiots?
Yeah, and they play alts. So this will be the best thing for alts because you don't have to keep mailing from character to character and all around.
Oh my god, it's already instant. Who cares?
No, but
because you have to log out, log in, mail, log out, log. Yeah,
you don't have to switch.
And then half the time you forget to go to the mailbox before you go to the crafting table.
It's not worth 2 million gold.
Why would you forget to mail? I'm surprised they invested so much. You know what? The time and labor they put into this should have been put into the art.
Yes, into the mount.
Anyway, the bank. I'm pretty excited about. Honestly.
I really hope one day a dev or someone high up at WoW watches this and just goes, "Who are these motherfuckers? What the fuck?
What the fuck do they do? Nothing."
Yeah, let me put the coders, the dev guys, on the art team.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. Well, Frank, something I want you to do. I'm gonna send you a screenshot of what's in my bank, and you're gonna put it up here on the podcast. My bank is full of those coins from fishing in Dalaran and Wrath of the Lich King, so I could use the extra bank space.
My bank's full of all of the old, legendary and unique gear that you just can't destroy. Yeah,
I have that too. I have
why you chuck it on the ground and delete it.
No way, dude. I have cool pieces of gear I've gotten, like the jailer mace and
But it's in your transmog.
Herod shoulder. No, but I want keep the actual thing.
That you can't put on.
Just a handful.
Because you're a hoarder. That's why.
I have a collection. Yeah, I'm a hoarder. That's the only thing I use my bank for.
I'm wondering if this Warbound until equipped is going to be also part of the patch right away. Not that I would really go and search out gears right now, but my DK, for example, my blood DK is not geared up, and I'm wondering if I'm running on Frank. Didn't Shawnee,
you get plate gear?
Can you do that? Like, can you say like, hey, because I thought it was personal loot, so you can't necessarily get plate on my mage, can I?
I think it's gonna. You can get it. I think it's gonna work like the other ones did that would drop gear, and it, like all the other expansions where you'd be on your hunter and like plate would drop, you'd send it to your plateware. Because now when you go into old raids and dungeons and stuff too, like it lets you get whatever it drops from a boss.
Well, I
like you can be on your mage and plate can drop.
I want to make it
but that's but like going into the next expansion, that won't be the case either, would it? I wouldn't see a shield.
You might, because they do that in all the pre-patch events where the gear that drops is like mixed.
I get that, but I'm saying like just live. Let's just say today I went into a 12 Algathar.
No,
and
I don't think they'll do that. Yeah. From what I understand, that's not going to be a thing where like
I mean, that's, I understand why.
Yes, I have a question. Yes, Technico. I have a question. So, when is the last time any of you died in the open world in WoW retail?
Technique, that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
It does. It does. It's the question.
Go on then.
On my mage that I was leveling, 100% I've died on that thing a couple times because it pulled too much, and I
my concern with this whole like Warbound until equipped thing is that like the only time I'm going to get gear is like if I'm in a mythic, and
that's not true anymore.
And like, so if I'm doing like a dungeon or a quest or whatever, and then I hand out, why do I need to give it to my alt? The alt doesn't need gear.
Okay.
So they
like you can float through this content anyway. Why do I need the thing?
But wait, I'm going to explain to you why.
Let John explain.
So they've changed actually how the open world works now, and in your vault, it shows you get your raid gear, your mythic plus gear, and then your gear from the open world, which will also be. Yeah, which will also
no one wears anything from the open world. Not one person has anything from the open world equipped.
I'm explaining to you why you're gonna. So now you're gonna, because you can get better gear from the open world in different events in it. And they're putting more events, and they're putting in a kind of twice a week, weekly event back in too that you want to work towards.
Tracks.
And an upgrade track.
So you're telling me that some best in slot items will come from open world events.
Okay,
there is a chance, yes.
First thing. Technique. The open world content's not for you. Because my follow-up question to you of saying,
or anyone else,
when was the last time you died in open world content? My follow-up question is, when the last time you did fucking open world content?
Exactly. Only to get to level 70.
For you.
But if, like what Shawnee's explaining, if you would be quiet, please. What Shawnee's explaining, if they have best in slot gear in the open world from different events, even at a low chance to drop, I'll go and do that. You know?
Yeah. So
what I don't want to do is open world content to farm fucking flight stones.
That's
what I don't want to do.
It has, let me just put in, it has been the case that some like BIS or BIS adjacent stuff has dropped from like the world boss, for example. Because I remember there was something that like balanced druids were wanting that gave you like a ton of haste. So that's already been
there have been times where world quests drop a best in slot. It just wasn't high enough item level sometimes.
Like trinkets. Yeah, it wasn't high enough item level, so now you can bump it all the way up, I guess.
Anyone who hits max level and does mythic dungeons, which is everyone, doesn't need a world boss loot.
Okay.
Wait, I'm not jumping off what Technique said. I'm going to leave that there.
Why? Because he's an idiot?
Because
everyone does mythic plus, everyone does raids.
Says a person that thinks that mount was free.
55% of the people do. That's the representation of the entire world.
Let me ask my question. Actual question.
Let's scrap talk.
Is the Warbound until equipped that only counts for open world stuff? Does it come out of raids and dungeons?
No, raids and everything. Okay,
shut up then, Technique, and get out raids and dungeons.
Exactly.
Like, why are we talking about
you think this was open world only?
Why would I get the loot from the raid that doesn't?
Oh my god,
isn't equipable by me?
Frank, but no, let me finish. Shiny, let me finish because let's say you're doing a dungeon with Frankenberry, and you Technique get a helmet that you don't want anymore, and Frank's like, oh, can I get that helmet? I'm gonna pass it to my alt.
I don't know if Warbound until equip will work like that, but that logically makes sense.
That makes sense.
And also, for people with alts, it's a way to gear up your alts.
So
there's times when I've gotten like a BIS trinket for like a mage, and it's like, okay, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that?
The point that they're trying to do here, Technique, and again, you don't play alts, so it doesn't even matter to you. but is that like you get this best in slot trinket. It may be obviously a little lower eye level, but it's like, oh my god, it's a fun trinket even, whatever. And you might say, well, damn, I've been wanting to play mage. Now I've got this trinket. Let me go in and jump in and make my mage. And now I have the trinket ready to go. The other side of it too is like there's also incentive to continue to run mythic pluses or whatever, even if you're geared to the teeth. Because you're like, well, I could use that trinket for my my priest that I want to play, whatever the case may be. The question I had for Shani was, okay, so you're on your warrior. Do you have any chance of seeing that trinket, which is a healing trinket or even just a caster trinket? I think the answer is probably not.
So the way they explain it right in the blue post is that you have a chance to get a piece of personal Warbound equipped gear. It's personal loot.
Additional?
Additional. So you get a piece anyway, and then you get your additional like personal loot piece. So you can't trade it.
So
for starters, the gear. Yeah, this gear will be at least one tier lower than the loot source. So if you're in, like, if you got veteran, you would get hero instead. And it could be gear usable by any class. So yes, it could be a shield, it could be a healing thing, it could be So it's the same.
Like, it could just be a random whatever. You don't even know what shield does, and you're like, well, I'll keep it.
Yeah, if you're running, hero level stuff, and you have a guy you haven't really touched, but he's like at level cap, he can get champion stuff out the gate, so you can start him a bit higher.
And to answer your question, Technique, like when you make that alt, like this in this case, you make a paladin with the shield or whatever, you don't have to go out and do the world quests like you had to in the past when you're level 70 because you just want to gear up as quickly as you can. You can hit Mythic Plus immediately without having to run through all that world quest stuff or the heroic dungeons or the M0 dungeons because you've been farming like crazy M10s or whatever on your warrior, and you picked up 4 or 5 different items that could be used by that paladin. You might go, cool, now I can go and play him without having to worry about going and grinding the heck out of things. Oh, and by the way, warbands share flight stones or whatever they're going to be called in
flight pass, yeah,
and flight pass.
The new stones, yeah.
So now I'm also able to upgrade them a lot quicker too, and I don't think you can trade, if maybe you can for a discounted rate, but I don't think you can trade crests, like aspect crests and all that stuff. I really hope you can, but I don't think you can. But yeah, anyways, we've harped on this enough, but it's still a great feature. Right?
I don't see how anybody could consider this a negative thing.
Yeah,
but I might be surprised.
But we have a wonderful eclectic cast of characters.
Yeah, yeah, we found the one guy who doesn't like it.
I predict, and then we can move on with your permission, Frank. But I predict that people will transfer, well, especially me, will transfer as many Warbound items to alts as I had public work orders crafted in Dragonflight.
And are you saying that for yourself or for like the general person?
I think it's going to be about as important as that.
But you
for everyone.
Strongly disagree.
Comment in the YouTube section.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Transmog.
Okay, yeah. Let's just go Transmog.
Transmog. LOL.
Transmog.
So now, if I go on my mage to any of the old world content and do a run, in the past I would only get the cloth transmogs for whatever I picked up. Now you can get everything. That's really cool. Very, just transmog friendly.
That's awesome.
Now that being said, I saw, and I hope I'm correct on when I'm saying this, tier tokens. They haven't figured that out yet because it's like, again, spaghetti code. Mm-hmm. But what they said is that you can't trade in the tier token, but you can send that tier token to the appropriate class to then trade in themselves.
Oh, you can put it in your war bank, and you can.
Yeah, I guess
that makes sense. That's a fair way to get around whatever mess they made with
so
the
if
code.
I want to go get Paladin, tier set, but I have run on my Paladin and unsuccessfully saw drop, I can go on my Mage, I assume. Try again. Token drops. Cool. Ship it, and So again, it's again great transmog friendly feature added to that. Reputation, so we'll see all the again, this will be backwards compatible. It's not going to be fully implemented just yet, but all the Dragonflight stuff will be immediately unlocked, and then they'll move backwards through expansions. So they say it'll take some time to implement, and they even said things like Alder and Scryers from Burning Crusade will be a huge issue.
Wait, what about negative reputation? Because one of my guys
they also
is
mentioned
named
that.
Booty May.
Yeah, they also mentioned
that. What did
that.
they say?
They haven't figured out the answer to that yet.
Okay, because I can't go to Booty Bay on one of my characters. That would suck.
I really wish the thumbnail this week was a picture of you not being able to go into Booty Bay.
Okay, you can make it that.
Achievements, of course. Map exploration, so all your maps will be updated in real time with the click of a button. I think that's a toy. Yeah, toy. And then share the wealth. So here's where you can share your currencies. So again, they show flight stones. They show, you know, the seasonal
the embers
currencies, but I don't see anything about. Okay, there's crests. Oh, that icon means it's transferable. Okay, so I don't think crests are transferable. But you know, time work will definitely be. I don't know. You know, most people.
My Dark Moon prize tickets aren't transferable.
Maybe they are. I don't know, to be sure.
It doesn't have the fire.
This is a different icon. I guess maybe that's a 1-to-1, and these might have a tax.
Cost?
Yeah.
A tax. Fuck, dude, they're increasing taxes.
Yeah.
On Dark Moon prize tickets.
That's why you need to vote, Scrap.
Yeah, I gotta vote. I should have voted.
And then, of course, shared flight points. So, big win, big addition. Everyone's super excited.
I am.
Yeah, I'm excited about Warbands.
Obviously.
I will say, not to be negative.
Okay, be negative.
But is this like the gimmick for the expansion?
Yeah, is this the
I
whole
would say
thing?
this is the dragon riding of the expansion.
Yeah, but dragon riding's so much cooler than this.
It's Scrap. It really isn't that much cooler when you think about it. It's just
Frank,
flying.
This feels like what are you talking about? This is a quality of life. No, Frank. This is a quality of life update that they should be making, like, and not, you know, just like, hey, there's this great thing we're adding, and also here's the gimmick for the expansion.
They've recently confirmed that they're going to add customization to the Warband screen. When I first told you about this, you said that was the one thing you wanted out of it. To be able to put your pets out to change the location.
Yeah, and they don't even have it yet.
Yeah, okay. They didn't have all the racing implemented into Dragonflight when they started, did they?
Yeah, but they had all the mechanics implemented.
Oh my god.
It does kind of feel so far that it's like, welcome to War Within. You have warbands and like 10 new quests. That's kind of what it feels like so far.
Well, yeah, but what pre-patch event isn't like that? By the way, you'll have talent trees, by the way. The new talent trees will be out.
Yeah.
Talent
also, I feel like for you guys haven't, from what I can see, I could be wrong, but on your knowledge of things, it's not like you guys have looked a lot at what is coming.
What are you talking about?
Right?
I get this podcast every week.
Exactly. That's the only time you hear about it. Like,
Frank, you're
negative
as hell. That's why I'm here.
Are you telling me Frank is not giving me enough information about the expansion?
No, I'm saying it goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, I think there's more coming that. Well, I think too, like, if I say delves, you're like, yeah, I've heard Frank say delves. I have no clue what they are.
That's true. I don't know much about
that would be your answer. So you don't know much about them. So that
actually, delves would probably be even more so than
delves.
Dragon.
Yeah, delves 100% more so the dragon riding of this.
Well, hold on. I asked if this was the dragon riding of this, and Frank is just giving me straight up misinformation. Then he said, "Yeah."
Well, he didn't consider the delves.
I'm not. I'm a flawed man, Scrap. Okay.
Not much to consider, I guess.
I think how they're gonna
Discord soundbite.
I think with them also making a line where like world quests and adventures in the open world matter a lot more is also like a big change for WoW at this point, because Technique's right. Currently, it doesn't really matter aside from trying to get like a certain currency you need, but them making it matter and making ones that you'll want to go do, and you can even adjust which ones you do because you need to do like 2 a week, and you get this like extra bonus, like loot from them. Like it's gonna be. I think it's gonna keep people playing more.
One other thing
I
we
hope
haven't
it takes you more than a day to hit 80.
You hope it does?
Yeah. I want it to take like 3 weeks.
I want to say something real quick. Remind me to come back to that point. Okay, not 3 weeks.
That's what I would like 3 weeks.
I think it will take me 3 weeks, but
It'll
I'm
take
very
you 3 weeks. Yes, but hold on. I want to before it leaves my mind. So first thing, if you do only the main quests in leveling, you will only hit level 75. Just so you guys know.
Wait, what happens at level 75?
What's that cow's name?
This isn't the picture technique. I haven't. This is just the Wildhead article.
Wait. Stop distracting. What? You only hit 75? You do all the quests?
If you do the main quests only.
Oh, if you don't do the side quests.
Yes. Okay.
I'm gonna do the side
departure.
quests.
That is a departure from what is normal. So Scrap, you won't be affected by this.
So they didn't even make enough campaign to get you to max level.
Technique. Yeah, you're right.
I want my money back.
Okay.
One last thing I wanted to say about Warbands before we move on. And I thought this was really good because it drives me crazy. So, on my main, I usually do all the main story quests, and I do like the seasonal quests where it's like Bane goes and destroys everyone, and I can't remember
all the centaurs.
Yeah, the centaurs.
Yeah,
and I did like the tier quest line and all that stuff.
Yeah.
With one of the new features is that you can now deactivate those quests being tracked. If you've done
my god, that's awesome.
There you go, Scrap. There's the win you've been looking for.
Quality of life update. That's what that is.
Sure, but it's
sometimes if a game does like a really big quality of life updates, that can be such a big win. People can be like, "There's so many things I dislike about this game," and then they fix all of it. People are like, "Oh, it's almost like a new game," because they add in more stuff as they fix them.
Well, no, that wasn't really possible without the Warband technology. I would assume.
Yeah. I do want to say, I like the Warband thing. I think it's hype. I think they're acknowledging that everybody's got alts now. We've been playing this game for fucking 16, how many ever years? And he's such an exception in so many ways.
I have alts, man. I just don't play them.
But I do like it. I just, again, there's a lot of things that have made me feel very wary about this expansion. And all of these do seem like quality of life updates. There's nothing here that's like revolutionary.
I think, and in fairness, I think it's because you are drinking from the fountain of what news I gatekeep for you.
Okay, you should tell me the good news too, instead of telling me all the bad news.
Here's the good news: the campaign sounds fucking amazing. The dungeons so far, they're gorgeous at the very least. They play for the most part, like the bosses play really well. I'm scared shitless, and we'll talk about why in a little bit. But, but like the Warband technology is going to be huge quality of life improvement for alts, which I know I love playing alts. Shawnee, you've played a couple alts throughout. Scrap, you've mostly not this expansion, but in the past you have.
Not much.
Yeah.
The first 2 seasons, my alts were both cleared 20s and stuff. So,
but like, I mean, again, Delves, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be hard enough for us, but it is definitely something I'm excited to look and play. I purposely haven't looked at them on the beta because, again, I want to like this. I'm really trying hard not to ruin the surprise, but I'm genuinely surprised. Other than after today's announcement, most people are saying like, yeah, we're really hyped for War Within. So I think you're going to be happy with what you get. Okay.
Is it because it looks good, or because season 4 is so
because
lame?
the talent changes that needed to be made for the most part have been made.
I'm excited about that. That it seems like the talent changes, the Mythic Plus changes, the gameplay changes that seem pretty good. But I want to be wowed.
Like enhancement looked really bad, not really bad. It didn't get anything last week when we saw those changes, but they came in this week. They cleaned up a couple. It doesn't look like a lot, but a couple of the 2.0 nodes.
Yeah.
And they cleaned up a couple of other things that were, again, quality of life talent tree improvements that now give you a choice in the talent tree. So that's great. There's a lot of bugs to fix. I'm sure. I don't know of them personally, but like I know that like when the Resto Shaman put their thoughts on it, they like literally listed out 40 bugs. But that's the point of beta, and they've got a month and a half or so to fix it. Technique, you shaking your head no that the talents aren't a move in the right direction.
Yeah, the Prot Warrior feels exactly the same, man. It feels exactly the same.
Okay. I mean, how much have you put into researching that?
I've played a Prot Warrior ult for a long damn time. I went and played it again. It feels the same. There you go. Except, okay. So and maybe when we get one of these next like 7 tabs you got open, we can talk a little bit more about it. Because I don't want to like cut into the next tab or anything, But
okay, why don't we move on and we'll come back to that. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'll come back to that topic.
Okay. Sure. So just some beta news. This was very shocking to me. In fact, I thought this was more shocking than the tanking changes they made. But they are going to nerf Fortified from 30% buff to 20% buff. In context to what's happening with the affixed changes on beta, this may not be as surprising to people, especially who play high-end keys. The 30% buff plus the 20% buff plus the, whatever. That may have been a little too much. I get it. But where is the tyrannical nerf? Like, I still feel like I said this last week, they made some changes to bosses that would make it more percent-based health issues of when they like jump away. But that still isn't going to solve the fact that we have 4-minute bosses on one week and 2-minute bosses on the other.
I think that the goal here, obviously they made the goal pretty clear, but I think the goal is tanks shouldn't be able to just like go in solo content. And it never should have been that way, but it has been that way since like BFA. And I don't really hate the changes overall to the tanks. I know that's on the next slide or whatever, but I don't think that we need a tank. As far as the tanks are concerned, I don't think that we need a tyrannical nerf. I think we just need better play.
That was a long-winded way of saying that. Sure.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
You're not worried about the tanks being smashed. Now, I will tell you that is definitely not how I feel going into War Within.
No, I just feel like going. No, I feel like we're still, even with the nerf to Fortified, I feel like that's still going to be our harder, like more difficult to survive part of Mythic Pluses, just because most of my passive defensive ability and most of my passive regenerative ability has been nerfed into the ground. But
we will get just to like that topic in a second.
Yeah. At any rate, yeah, as far as like where the tyrannical nerf is, I'm not sure that's necessary.
I disagree with you on that. And I've been running them a lot, so I'm coming from a place of trying to research as best as I can. But when I play on both my Paladin and my Blood Death Knight tanking, the trash is it hurts, but it doesn't at any point put me in a state of chaos like some of the tank smashers on the bosses do. I mean, I would say 40% of them, there were times where I'm just like, oh my god, what the hell? How do I quickly rebound from that thing that just... There's Edna, who's the first boss in Stone Vault. Numbers-wise, I mean, I know the defensives and all that will like reduce the number, but numbers-wise, she hits tanks for 14 million damage every 35 seconds.
Maybe you, but not me.
He leaves.
As he walks.
Man, I'm out of stuff to snack on.
14 million damage, and my Paladin had 6 million, right?
Well, I don't know that you're going to survive that one.
It literally deleted me to 5% at full health.
You need to get your numbers up, buddy.
Anyways,
you gotta bump those numbers up.
Trani, I really need to make sure he doesn't tilt me because I know he's just doing it on purpose.
He's starting to see you tilt, and he's pushing.
I need to. You're gonna see me have like a heavier breath and a more slow draw to my words.
That's why he doesn't show us his camera, because he knows we'll sense blood in the water.
The technique, like that, like trash is not gonna. I mean, okay, sorry, I should say trash will be a problem, not because of the tank issues that we're talking about in just a second, but because of people not interrupting and coordinating together. That will be the problem.
Can't make mistakes, man. You gotta play perfectly, no mistakes.
I don't know how technique has such a formulated opinion, because my opinion is I gotta wait and see how it plays when I play it.
He's done one dungeon, I'm pretty sure.
No, I've done about 7.
What?
I mean, I'm assuming this is based on the current balancing of like the new dungeons.
I haven't been into a dungeon since the nerf to tanks, but...
Well, no one has. It literally happened today.
It just happened today.
Right.
He's just being honest. But yeah, I don't know this. I assume this is fine until I try it, and it's not fine.
I'm getting so tilted.
Okay, next topic. How can we formulate an opinion
All right,
about
next topic. Okay, so before I introduce it, I just want to talk to you guys about the idea of nerfing raids, right? So this hasn't necessarily been a problem for us. We don't raid Mythic. No. I would say, Scrap and Sean, I'll let you guys answer because I don't want to hear Technique's answer. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard were the heroic raids in this expansion?
Like a 5?
Not too hard, not too easy?
I think they were medium. The fact that I think we cleared all of them with our ragtag band says that to me they're not that hard.
I think you should give us more credit. I think we're better than that, but...
well,
once we stop pugging, we get better.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't find them too hard. I don't think we're horrible, but I mean, I would cut people.
Okay, Scrap.
I think they're fair. You know what? The season 1 and season 2 felt like they had more difficulty. The Frack raid, I feel like we pushed over, and definitely the season 4 scaling of the raid was way undertuned.
No. Season 4 is its own. Yeah, don't judge that.
Yeah. Well, you're asking for the expansion.
No, I meant season 1 through 3. Okay, answer Technique.
Okay. Yeah, I would give it. I think 5. I think it was a bit easier than I would like.
Okay.
Not that I've done Mythic raiding, but I feel like the difference in difficulty from Heroic to Mythic is probably too great, and they could probably like tune up the Heroic difficulty a little bit.
Well, I know our greatest difficulty is we never do it because we never have 20 people who want to do it.
Well, I don't even want to bother. So just to let everyone know the thoughts on why we don't even mythic raid. Like for me, because I'm the raid leader, I don't even want to bother worrying about class composition. Like I just.
Oh yeah.
If you don't have a DK for this fight, if you don't have a priest for this fight, you like. Not to say you can't do it, but it's like you enter hard mode for no reason other than we don't have it. Right? We need to have a mage because, like,
as we've identified 1,000 times before in this podcast, nobody gives a shit about the 3 items level stronger thing that you get in the Mythic Dungeon. Well, nobody cares.
I think it'd be fun. Like I said, I feel like the heroic raid was a bit.
Talked a lot about?
I feel like the heroic raid, this definitely the Farak one was a bit easier than I would like. Like we cleared it pretty quick. You know, I would like to maybe do some more difficult raid fights. I don't care about the item level really. But you know, we are known to run like 4 druid healers and like a survival hunter.
I will say though, there was the one fight, the platform flying fight. What was that?
Tendril.
Do before Farak?
To Taylor Swift.
Tendril.
Yeah, Swifty.
Tendril Swift.
That was a fun fight, and it took some
fight.
time for the group to coordinate all the different.
I felt like we moved through that actually a lot.
We moved through that one quick. Yeah.
There were plenty of like tank. Mechanics. There were plenty of like raid mechanics and healer mechanics. I thought that was a good fight.
It was a great fight.
All that said, it's kind of hard to answer the question when every second week the raid encounters are being nerfed pretty dramatically. So
that's fair.
Okay, so
like if you're talking like launch week, it was probably in a good place, but you're talking like now, it's like
whoa, because that's counter to what most people are arguing is that they're taking way too long to nerf bosses.
Well, for mythic people, maybe that's true, but for like heroic, I don't know that it needed nerfed. I think people can just like try harder and play some more.
I don't remember that big of a sweeping change, and I don't remember.
They always nerf the last boss into the ground like week by week. I feel like
no, that's the argument. They didn't do that. They took like I think it was 12 weeks to nerf Farak. No, they didn't.
Oh, they didn't slowly do it. I can't remember.
No, that was the argument. Okay, so again, context here is that mythic versus heroic is obviously different. I can't, you know me, I usually track this stuff, especially when in the middle of a raid. I track it. I know they did it with Razagath, and they did it in the middle of our progression of Razagath. They did do it to Sarkareth and Farak, but arguably by the community, I'm not saying I'm certain on that from our perspective, they did it way too late.
No,
right?
Remind me if this is
Farak was
correct.
a guild killer, right?
Yeah.
2 of the top 5.
Wasn't it?
It was.
I thought it was like Tendril.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Is that like I'm guessing with the numbers supported is that like people were hitting a wall at Tendril, and then the same amount of people who cleared Tendril also cleared Farak because they were both really hard.
No.
Was that what the numbers showed?
So, and again, this is based off my memory. My memory is yes, Tendril was the wall. For sure.
So maybe that's why they were like, oh, people aren't getting stuck at Farak. It's just like only a couple people are getting to Farak because people are getting so stuck at Tendril.
It was people were getting stuck at Tendril, and then those people who got past it, I think genuinely found Farak to be a little bit easier than Tendril.
Yeah, that was
but a little bit, not a huge bit. But also the people that finally started trickling into Farak was again 12 weeks in, and that's an arbitrary number. I'm not saying it's certainty, but so many weeks in, and then they started nerfing Farak. So like it was, and even then, I think it took 3 waves of Farak nerfs to finally get the problem with the fight. Because like they nerfed it by like, oh, we took 10% of its health. That wasn't the problem. It wasn't a DPS problem. It wasn't like we can't keep up. It was this mechanic is so unfun, and the private auras and making it this, and I have to do that, and it's just
the last mechanic of Farak is one of the worst mechanics they've ever done in a raid boss ever.
I disagree. I liked it, but I get what your point. It is obviously
right. You're
chaos.
Screaming like you're having an aneurysm the whole time
because I have people like you in my raid. But that's again another story for another day. Anyways, the reason I say this is because their plan is to re-implement what they used to do. I think Ice Crown Citadel did this. I'm sure other raids have done it, but I remember in Ice Crown, and to allow you to get what they used to call the Rebel Yell raid buff. Now it's called the Severed Strands, and it will reduce the damage. Yeah, damage dealt and healing done. Oh no, sorry, increase the damage dealt and healing done by 3% for each stack. It sounds like there's up to 15 stacks.
Wait, what the hell is this? It's a raid buff?
It's a raid buff to nerf the bosses, to nerf the raid.
Yeah, they used to have it all the time in the raids. They'd have it in like...
Go on.
Yeah,
okay,
anyway.
Interesting.
Here's the difference.
I remember there was... What raid was it? There was a raid that came out, and like, the first week it came out, they were like, you have to have 10 stacks of the raid buff to beat the boss. Like, it was so wrongly tuned.
It was so bad, yeah.
Yeah, like you could, like you really couldn't.
Wait, how okay, Frank, tell me how you get this buff.
By wiping.
So in the past, it was just a time-based buff.
Mm-hmm.
It would happen, this week it's 3%, next week it's 6%. What it looks like, though, is it's going to allow the people to decide to turn it on by trading in these Narubar fineries. So you get them from the bosses, and then you can stack it up to 15 total stacks. So it's a 45% damage and healing buff, right?
Ooh,
but you can implement it looks like, which I think is a great idea.
Each player can?
No, like once it's implemented for the raid, like if you're the raid leader, I assume once it's implemented, right? I don't know if there'll be a system turn off, maybe. So you get these drops from bosses, right? And then you trade them into some mob outside or whatever and get the buff. And again, there was an interview with Morgan Day where he said like they wanted like a 20% buff that happened over time. This is double that, so that's already wild.
So this seems very consequential.
Very,
maybe
very
a mistake,
right?
maybe.
Yeah. Technique, you're quiet. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
On what?
On the idea of one nerfing it this way as opposed to nerfing it the way that they have in the past. I'm sure they will still
like. They're going to also nerf it.
Yeah, they'll fix things. They'll fix things. This is their that was a bad mechanic. Let's fix the mechanic, as opposed to reducing Farok's health by 10%.
Yeah, so nerfing things, I really wish they wouldn't directly, like, as far as like just, let's nerf his health. That's kind of, I really wish they'd just leave it alone, honestly.
Unless it's a broken system, but yeah.
But like broken mechanics or something, fix a boss all day long. But
okay, so here's
I don't want to see the boss nerfed, man. If somebody else can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean?
What is this going to mean for logs, though, if people have this buff?
Right?
They won't care. It'll change the logs.
Yeah, but all the high logging people are going to have this 45%
Who
buff.
cares? It's just a log.
I care.
Go get the buff then. Like, what do you?
It's not individual.
There'll probably be an asterisk on it. It isn't. Oh, I see what you're saying. No,
yeah, it's for the whole raid.
But the people who are going to go for the 99 percentile or 100 percentile, they're going to have this buff almost certainly.
Yeah, I don't like this method. I'm gonna be honest.
You'd rather than nerf everything by 45%?
No, I like the idea of every week it gets a little easier, like as opposed to you being able to put training wheels on, like voluntarily. It doesn't feel right to me. I can't exactly vocalize it. Maybe I need to think about it more. But it doesn't feel right. We already have tiers. Like you have Raid Finder and normal and heroic and mythic. I feel like this is just muddying the water.
No, that's not. No, the idea is this. Okay, so this is. I think this is ultimately a anti-guild killer. Okay.
Where's the need coming from though? Like, where's the need? Like, why did they invest all this stuff?
Guild deaths. This is survival of the fittest.
Guild deaths. Now we have
big dumb gaming
guilds.
No. You're misconstruing it. Big dumb BDGG, whatever, big dumb guild, gaming guild. I don't know. Okay. They disbanded.
Okay.
I hope I'm getting.
And
that
they decided to make game changes over them disbanding.
No, what they said is we disbanded because it took them. We were doing Tindril for 12 weeks. Again, my arbitrary number, and it was just fucking miserable. Yeah, on Mythic, right?
Okay.
And what they're trying to do is I think, trying to say, okay. For those people who, the argument with Tindril was it wasn't a gear issue, it was a skill issue, right? Mm-hmm. For example, Dratnos' guild, Corndog something, I don't know. They were like world 6 because they just like they didn't play 40 hours a week like everyone else does. They just had like a really good collection of people who had the right skill sets and didn't try to just like power their way through it. They like played the game better. Whereas some guilds who maybe don't have that capability of playing as well are disbanding because they're going, we now realize just because we have 40 hours a week to do it doesn't mean we're going to be better. And they disband it. And so this is like Blizzard's way of saying, okay, well, we'll slowly soften the ability for you to get the job done. There might be an asterisk, but that's your decision. I like that it's your decision to put the asterisk on or not.
It's embarrassing. I don't like it.
I think the loot should dissolve as you turn on the asterisk.
Yeah, the loot dissolves, or you have to. Your title is.
It's opaque. It's just
the whole month.
You got the legendary sword, but it's like 20% opacity.
But it's like green. Yeah.
I mean, I don't like it. I mean, not to be like what Technique's always talking about is that like, oh, you have to be this tough to get the gear or whatever the hell. Like, you got to earn it. Blah blah blah. That's like
you're like
I
making
said not
the world.
To be that. But because we already have levels of difficulty. You know, we have the Raid Finder, the Normal, and the Heroic, and the Mythic, and I think that's fine. I think those are fine. I don't. The training wheels. I don't like. I don't want to play the game and have training wheels on. It makes me feel bad.
Okay.
Yeah. In my opinion, they're like detracting from the role playing aspect of the game. Like like I said last week, if I walk into Blackwing Lair, it should be one place, not fucking 4 different versions, not baby Blackwing Lair and then adult Blackwing Lair.
No,
it's the exact same subject.
No, it's not.
I'm saying I don't want to walk in and feel stronger because Blizzard devs think I need a fucking handicap to get the job done.
I disavow his statement. I think that tiers of difficulty for content is good, but I think it's already fine. I don't think there's any need to introduce smaller sub-tiers of difficulty. And I hate to be frustrated. Like, okay, let's say we're doing a guild run and we've wiped against the last boss 20 times, and half the guild are bitching, put the buff on, puff the buff on, and then half are like, we don't want it, we don't want it.
I don't think it'll do that. But yeah, okay.
It seems like more of a guild killer to me because I won't want this buff, but I can understand because I don't get frustrated after 20, 30, 40, 50 wipes. You know, I'm having a good time.
No, they went up to the 800s.
No, I know they did, but this is what I'm talking about at our level, at heroic level.
So we won't need to worry about it.
No, but okay, Frank,
We've
you're
never
the guild
done 100
leader.
pulls. We've never done 100 pulls.
In Sylvanas, we did.
Okay, yeah, sorry, Sylvanas, we did.
We had a different.
That wasn't mine though. That I had taken over. It was
a different. It was a different guild entirely.
Yeah.
I will say I don't mind doing 100 pulls of something and then earning it. It feels awesome. Like think how awesome it was. Like when we killed.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Like, but what about 800?
No. If at 800 it's too much, so maybe they only implement.
That's what this is addressing, I think.
So maybe they only implement
it.
If
you hit 800, then you just don't get it. Like you just don't get it.
No, this
just
is
saying, man. Not everyone is gonna kill every boss, man. And I think that this is it's like a slippery slope, man. You start giving things to every player in the game, and it's not worth achieving anymore for anyone.
I think what I'm worried about Technique is that only widens the gap to the top. Then.
Okay. Yeah. So get better. I don't know what to say, man. There can't be that big of a gap in skill between...
When you rely on 19 other people to get the job done, getting better for the individual is not the answer to the solution, though.
Yeah, that's true. You get better as a group.
Yeah, well, have a better guild master, raid leader.
But it's not like you just sit there and go, flick that switch, go install this add-on, my better raid leader add-on, here we go.
But it doesn't, Frank.
Man, you gotta,
what is going on?
You gotta stop having kids and pay more attention to your guild.
My prediction, and I fear this is what will happen, is that you're going to be feeling pressure as the raid leader.
I won't put this on.
You won't put it on after we
won't? Okay, clip that. Clip
it. Because it'll take, I assume, 15 weeks to stack this up entirely anyways, to the point where I'm going to say, we won't spend 15 weeks in the raid. We
just spend 15 weeks in the game.
So this is my
Shawnee,
question.
Come on, you've been quiet.
Let's have Shawnee's take. He's been mulling over his answer the whole time.
He was humming Blues Clues a second ago.
Yeah. I feel this is one of those things that like don't really matter in the sense of like it's up to the individual guild to use it or not use it. So it's totally like
that's new. I like that.
It doesn't. I don't care about it in that sense. I'm like, if someone uses it, they use it. Whatever. To me, it's just like another add-on because I'm not crazy about all the add-ons and WoW. So it's like, I'm like, whatever. My thing that I would like about it, per se, in the sense would be, say if you're grinding out, trying to get, you're on a class that needs the legendary from the last boss, right? And you're like, oh, we gotta go kill him over and over again. And even though you're clearing it,
to start cooking.
Even though you're clearing it, you're like, do we have to take as long to do this thing that we're just trying to do to carry on or whatever?
Yep.
So if I could have 15 stacks and quickly go through and do this after I've done it type thing, and like, I've achieved it, it's like, yeah, I cleared it on without anything, and now I'm like, I'll take the 15 stacks because I'm just going through this to get my 1% chance at this thing that might drop.
Even if it's not legendary, just a trinket or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever. So I'm fine with that idea, especially if your guild's like, well, we want to go to Mythic, we've cleared this, and like, you know, we got to help. Like, some more people need some more gear to go into this. We'd rather get to Mythic sooner than later.
If you start selling runs, like, I mean, that'd be nice.
I mean, yeah, and people sell runs anyway, but that's totally different. So I could see where it's useful. I don't think it's something that, like, the amount of time we spend on it, I'm like, I don't care, man. People use it or not use it.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect.
It makes me feel icky.
Fair enough. Okay, so we'll leave it at that.
And you don't have to use it. I think that's what's the good part of it.
And that's the thing I want to pin down is I think this is the first time where you don't have to. Well, I don't know if you could click it off in the past. I don't know about that, but
like Vantis runes.
Yeah, but
you don't have
to use an individual thing, though.
Well, that's a different thing though. Because when we're close,
did we use Vantis runes this?
Yeah, I like Vantis runes.
And we
it's going to be just like weak auras.
This is exactly
this whole subject, man. It's going to be like weak auras. If someone else is using it, then we're going to end up using it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Well,
Vantis
that's
runes feel
story.
okay, and this feels icky.
Okay. Technique.
That's all
I got. I am at a simmer right now on my boiling meter.
We need a meter on the side.
I'm going to try to I'm slowly going to try to talk about this. I just ask that you don't say anything completely outlandish, okay? So
no gamer words.
Today, Trump getting nearly assassinated, or
today? Oh God, Jesus Christ! Today we got a blue post about tank survivability, self-sustainability. I am going to quickly.
But they still have time to walk this back because it just happened today.
Here's the thing. Well, okay, we'll talk about it in a second. So, Dragonflight talent systems and all the different mitigation options and defensive options we have in our talent trees and self-healing that they had to implement because of these talent trees, etc., etc. They have some problems they want to solve for, okay? Which is the fact that, and we've all been, technically you've been there, I've been there, we finish bosses where the tank is just like going for the last minute of a Mythic plus boss or sometimes even in a raid. And you know, I've called for the weapon techniques just sitting there tanking for another 4 minutes for no goddamn reason.
It's not just dungeons. It's not just mythics, man. It's world content. I can literally go AFK anywhere I want and nothing can kill me in the world. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to clip that and play that every time he does.
You know, so when it comes to, I'm thinking of, you know, expanding this concept to delves, you know, there's no reason that a
well, it is. It's across the game.
Or a tanking, that's what I mean. I'm just saying there's no reason that a tanking class should feel like God in a delve compared to some other class, you know.
I'm sure.
And so I don't necessarily hate the changes. Well, as far as like
let's cover the changes, and then we'll talk about
Sure.
So here are the things that they are impacting. Okay, and again, we'll link this in Wowhead in case you haven't already read it, but it seems to be the talk of the town right now. So tanks will take more damage overall, but shouldn't die significantly more often. Notice the word significantly. So they will die more often, just not significantly more often. Tank damage should be steady and not too fast. So again, in the example I gave about Stonevault earlier, 14 million hit, I'm dead, but then in like the healer has all this time to bring me back up. Nothing else is necessarily hitting me. In fact, I think there's even a damage reduction buff you get for a little bit. Tanks will still have strong answers to threats or periods of danger, but less sustained self-healing. That's a big one. Healer gameplay should not be dominated by tank healing. So Lithian, a friend of the show, literally talked about this, how he was out healing the healer. We've seen it from Blood Death Knights. Yeah, Bear Druid. Blood Death Knights, of course, like that's like common places that they're out healing the healer. And then tank gameplay should not significantly change or require actions like kiting to survive. Kiting is a big topic here, okay? Now, they obviously asked for feedback, but we're going to go through very quickly each change. Death Strike was a big part of the Blood Death Knights kit. It looks like it's not going to heal nearly as much. It was, I think, can now only heal for a certain percentage of damage taken, and I think it double dipped as well. So like if you Death Strike and then immediately did it again, it would still use some of the healing that you got from the previous big hit. So that's a problem that's fixed. And then of course mitigation has been nerfed. There's numbers all over the place. I'm not going to go through them all here. Vengeance Demon Hunter, self-healing was a big thing of them. They did get some survivability like stamina and reduction of damage done against them nerfed, but the self-healing has also been nerfed. Guardian Druid, you can see, in fact, this also affects the other specs. I don't know if Frenzied Regeneration is something you use on like cat form or anything like that, but that was nerfed pretty substantially. Iron Fur nerfed. Survival of the Fittest is nerfed pretty heavily. You can't. Lithian again was talking about the idea of doing a Moonkin or Moonbeam Bear Druid. That's going to be nerfed a little bit as well. Brewmaster Monk. It does sound like they're trying to make Stagger a little more stronger.
Oh, Roar will be happy. That's all he talks about.
He talked about some other things too. Because there was some Windwalker changes too. The amount of damage stagger increased by 8%. However, there are other things that, like the self-healing and the armor, might have been. Oh, actually, look at this. Balance. Brewmaster's balance increases Monk's armor by 50%. Was 25%. So they're trying to smooth it out for Brewmaster, not necessarily destroy them. Protection Paladin. So like they brought up the fact that standing in consecration is like the life or death issue, but it doesn't seem like they necessarily solved that issue of like when you're in your consecrate. Is it less effective?
I mean, Word of Glory 10% stronger, didn't they?
They did. So they reduced Consecrate's mastery by 20%. So they nerfed
what are you crying about?
Well, because they nerfed it, right? And yes, they did increase Word of Glory, which, by the way, was sorely needed. But even 10%, I think, is a little low.
Is 10%? Yeah, I would say, is 10% enough?
No, but again, here's the problem. I'm basing this all on the idea that they have this buff on beta that limits your eye level to a certain point. And I'm sitting there complaining about being, let's say, item level 570 or whatever it is. And I'm doing what is effectively a plus 12 mythic, because it's plus 2 with the new changes. And that might just be, like, once I get the appropriate gear, it won't feel bad at all. I don't know. But yeah, the Word of Glory has been buffed, but other things have been nerfed. Especially like things like Sentinel and Eye of Tears duration, which could be a little bit of an issue. It just really kind of works for like 2 hits. And then Protection Warrior. It looks like they know that the tanks, the warrior tanks, are the best physical damage sponges. However, they talk about like you're not really strong with magic or periodic damage, but I don't think they solved that problem with these nerfs.
No,
like, they didn't address it.
So defensive stance nerfed us by 4%. It used to be 20% reduction to all damage. They made it 16%. So
that's a 20% overall nerf, right?
Well, it's a 4% damage reduction nerf.
Yeah,
it was 20, now it's 16%.
So 20% lower.
And then they 20% off of the 20. Yeah. And then they added 1% to magical reduction if you take the talent, which is who cares? That's negligible. It's completely irrelevant. They nerfed just like all the other tanks. Well, long story short, you don't got to get into specifics, but long story short, they nerfed your, solo regenerative abilities and your passive.
For everyone.
Passive reductions and regeneratives. But the thing is, I think the story is across the thing, they're not touching your big cooldowns. They want us to take more damage in general, which I think I agree with in general. But they don't want us to feel like we're dying to tank buster abilities any more than we are now. Passive
look at this. They
abilities. Go ahead.
They buffed like shield walls cooldown reduction. You got an additional 30 seconds.
They did, so I was going to say positively.
By it.
Or
shield.
A little bit more rage. Yeah, a little bit more rage if you take that talent, which of course we're going to.
All right, you sorry.
But yeah, no, that's all I was going to say. I was glad that since the beta, I've been bitching about rage regen for warrior. It feels like they just absolutely muffled our rage regeneration, or rage generation. So to see that change is, good amongst all the other nerfs that everyone is seeing. And I think warriors were the tankiest, and we probably still will be. And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay also with tanks focusing more on tanking, just like we've been saying about healers.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. I don't want to be looking at fucking details and seeing how high I did on my damage. As much fun as it is, I want to be a tank, not a damage dealing guy that pulls.
Great question there. I want to pin that because I want to go over something that wasn't mentioned in this, but I saw a lot of people immediately asking questions about, which was, okay, so if they're doing this, are they smoothing out the damage? Now, I haven't seen any of the dungeon changes like the boss damage and all that stuff, whether they've smoothed those out. I'm assuming even if they don't change it, it probably will be okay. But I do want to point out that in the patch notes for the beta today, they did buff most healers' abilities, like so regrowth initial heal increased by 30%. there was another one here. It was
There's
restoration.
a big
Swift
reason
Man by
for that.
20%, Life Bloom by 20%, Life Bloom's Bloom, whatever that is, by 30%, Cenarian Ward by 20%. Evokers got well, they got a buff all around. Augmentation got nerfed. That was interesting.
That's good.
And mostly on just like how they help tanks. So again, not to what people were worried about is that augmentation now would be required for runs because of like that.
That's something that Roar brought up, is he said that like this is going to really heavily encourage augmentation to be used to fill the gap of this nerf they're taking away. So
yeah, preservation got a 20% buff on Spirit Bloom, which I think is an AOE heal. But they have some other, I guess, quality of life things in there. Don't talk to me about the Arcane Mage nerfs. I'm devastated by them.
Let's not talk about it.
Talk about that.
Can I really quickly just say though, I had to do the math to figure out if it was a buff or a nerf, and
that's your
Mistweaver. No, it's all over the place. Mistweaver, so Ancient Teachings got a higher transfer rate. Better this is actually nerf. Enveloping Mist and Renewing Mist are a little bit lower. But the Mastery from Chi-Ji is now 20%, or actually 50% from the 40%. Elon's Grace is a little nerfed, but Vivify is buffed by 30%.
Elon's Grace?
Elon's Grace.
Elon. Raid technique.
Vivify's healings increased by... he's the one that has the monitor that you can see everything so clearly.
I know, Vivify
healing increased by
hardcore.
30%. Gust of Mist healing increased by 10%. There's the Windwalker nerfs that Rory was really upset about. Paladin got Word of Glorying buffed. They also got Flash of Light buffed. And a couple of other things in there, I think. Then Priest Flash of Heal 20%. So anyways, you guys get the point, right? Shaman's the same.
Yeah.
There you go. Restoration Riptide. So like they buffed healers. At least most of their single target heals, it looks like. They buffed healers somewhat substantially. And I think that's obviously really good. So I wanted to put that in perspective before I got y'all's thoughts. So Technique, you've given us mostly your answer, but is this good or bad for the game?
I think it's good. I think it's going to make it a little more role-specific. I'm going to feel again like a tank, and I think it's going to make me rethink my talent choices as a tank. A lot of us have been going into this, like I was just saying, it feels the same. Well, I don't mind like going in and taking more defensive talents that maybe I didn't take last season. Like some of the what's the one that like veterans, whatever the hell, at the bottom of the tree in Prot Warrior, that is a cheat death. No one took that last season. Maybe I will take it this season. I don't mind. Maybe I'll take the Last Stand buff. Maybe I'll take.
They did post that they wanted tanks to have more meaningful choices between a DPS side versus a tanking side in their talent trees as well. I'm going to go and jump in. Shani, Scrap, do you guys have anything that I know neither of you? Well, Shani, you've healed before, so I will look for your input.
Yeah, I don't really tank, and I definitely don't heal, but I think healing buffs is good for the game because like I think. As somebody who doesn't heal at all, but my take is that healing seems to be like the hardest job, at least based on how the people we run with bitch about it. Yeah, and I think the fact that we can't hold down a healer like in our keys, like we can, like we have people come in who love doing it, but it feels like a very thankless job, but it feels difficult.
It definitely is a thankless job.
Yeah, so a buff seems warranted in my opinion.
But this isn't a buff though. This is a nerf, technically.
How is it a nerf?
Because now they have to worry about the tanks.
So
yeah, I don't know. I do think a Technique was hitting on something earlier. I can't remember if it was the podcast or before it, but that like tanks could just like solo bosses sometimes. I mean, how many times did we have a boss with like less than 10% and you just sat there and finished it, or Technique sat there and finished it? That shouldn't be possible, and I think we can all agree on that.
And this also stops the comp of 4 DPS in one tank.
Yeah,
it also kind of stops like it also kind of stops the the big defensives debate we all had about DPS classes. Like you won't need to. Basically, it gives the development the ability to kind of smooth out the damage overall. The big AoE abilities that are killing our DPS and making the healers have to focus so much on them will probably do less damage because the tank is no longer quite as tanky. Is that making sense?
It does make sense, but I don't know.
I do feel like I'm trying to think of the tanks I run with frequently, and like running with you versus Frank. Like you, Technique, you take a lot of damage dealing abilities over defensive. I mean, you joke that you're not in defensive stance ever. I don't know how real that is.
Literally had to switch
I'm never
out
in
of it the other day.
If we're doing 8 and 10s, like I don't 8 to 10, I don't move into defensive stance.
I think that probably needs to change. And I know, Frank, that like you're able to just like micromanage like a psychopath, like, and maybe you should, you know, like you should have more of a job than having to worry about everybody else's jobs.
Well, okay, so I want to get Shawnee's opinion first. So Shawnee?
Yeah, go for it.
So it's interesting we got to this. I was watching a few videos from a few healers because like everything in me wants to heal, but I want to like my friends. So that probably will never happen because healing you guys is fucking atrocious. Anyway, the videos I watched is now the prediction is, and it's only a prediction because like, you know, it's beta's not done, is that currently the state of healing from a lot of the bigger healers and writers for Wowhead and stuff is like, it's horrible to heal. It's going to be the worst season for healing. On top of AoE, there's a fair amount of big hits from AoEs and a lot of spot healing you got to do. There's a lot of poison damage coming out from different dungeons, and it's the last boss of like Siege. Its main move puts you down like 80%, and then it like ticks at 15% on people. There's just like the healing set, like their opinion of it so far, and it can change, is that healing is going to be atrocious the first season, and not even to a point of like just healing. Automatic Jack did a video about it, but it was like, it was more not just that you can't DPS all the time. It's like, it's going to be a real challenge. The idea of it is good. I think by nerfing tanks and buffing healers, you're kind of in the same spot you were. I don't see how one overall gets like the other being better. But yeah, so, I think, but I do like the idea of healers healing, tanks tanking, which I'm on that train.
So let's take the time machine real quick. We've played together through Shadowlands and now Dragonflight. Scrap, you and I started playing, I think, season 1 of Shadowlands. That sounds
Shadowlands,
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the meta for season 1 of Shadowlands was Vengeance Demon Hunter because they could kite so well, right?
Yeah.
That they didn't have to, like, the other tanks couldn't survive. Now, granted, I don't remember that being a problem on my Paladin, but that's also because I was not at the time even pushing 20s. I was probably like, if anything, pushing 15s.
Yeah.
So I wasn't the same player that I am now, but I remember it being a huge issue where people complaining about the fact that they were just getting slapped around as a tank. Dragonflight season 1, I think Prot Warrior started out as the top meta, and then it shifted over to Prot Paladin. So I don't remember there, but like people keep referring to Dragonflight season 1 as being the same problem because they tried to do this. But I do remember Blizzard reverted some of the healing changes that they made. They wanted to do the same kind of thing at the start of Dragonflight as well. And so it seems like everyone's dooming and glooming saying the same thing is happening again. Now, I obviously want to make sure I'm not like hedging my bets and saying, well, I think Blizzard's got it right this time. I for all I know, they don't. But I do think that even if they got it wrong in Shadowlands and even if they got it wrong in Dragonflight and they're going to get it wrong in War Within, this is something they need to do. Do we agree?
I mean, I'm trying to think back, like the difference between Shadowlands and Dragonflight. And Shadowlands, like healers really had a DPS. Like
no, but not in season 1. That wasn't like a meta thing.
Well, but I just remember that being something that was ingrained in my mind, that I was checking the healer's DPS and was like, is that why we didn't clear it? Because like we weren't able to clear on DPS stuff. In Dragonflight, that was not a problem ever once. So they did something to kind of tweak that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you agree?
Yeah, in Shadowlands, like the whole like tank while your defenses are up and then kite mentality, I hated that.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that most tanks did. So I'm glad to see that change. I don't want to see it go back to that.
Well, they're worried it's going to go back to that.
I know that's a big concern. I don't
The
think
kiting meta.
I don't think that's going to be quite the thing, you know, where we're at. And I think that's why they made the fortified change and not the
maybe
tyrannical change.
I still think that look, the other thing too is that we haven't seen any of the actual tuning done to the dungeons. I'm looking for blue posts right now and I don't see any.
Yeah.
So like I'm going to get into the beta probably tomorrow night and just grind like crazy to see what it's like. But I do believe that even if it is, the reason why I say this is because even if it is harder, at a certain point, I stop using defensive abilities. Like, okay, so Ardent Defender, right, which is a short cooldown, 20% damage reduction. It's also a cheat death. I don't use it once I get to a certain point of survivability. And even I even forget to use it in higher keys, like, you know, what would be now 12s and 13s. Not because like I didn't want to use it or I was like worried about DPSing. It's just like I never felt in danger, except for, I think they even said in their blue post, like there's certain pre-scripted events that, you know, that's when you got to like start thinking about it. But everything else, you're just in cruise control. And then, as you said, like I'm micromanaging like crazy. Yeah. So I do want to tank. I do want to think about tanking more. I do want to think about like surviving. I'm really anxious to see how poorly the community is reacting. But it is surprising to see that, like, for example, Max tweeted today saying this was an L. But
he did, yeah.
30-40% of people on his comments were saying like, no, I think this is a W. I think this is the right thing to do. I'm just really hoping they don't. Like, I hope they get it right. I hope that they figured this out.
I want to make one last comment on it. I think it's a win, but it's gonna, like, as far as community wise, I think it's gonna be difficult to be win just because they already gave us a taste of what superpower tanking looks like.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna have, you know, it's just gonna feel like a big slowdown back to reality. It might feel like an L for season 1, but I think if they keep it and they hold, you know, stick to their guns and balance around it and don't just put it back, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
The implication that I'm afraid of, I think Technique just like brushed upon, is that people who are playing tanks, they like feeling like a god and stuff like that. They're maybe like, well, I think I'll DPS this season, or I think I'll heal this season, and trying to pug a tank is going to be a nightmare. If people
that will
are
lead us into our question of the week. And this isn't a question, this is a comment that was made while we were talking about this from Roar in our Discord. And the comment was, why is Blizz actively trying to lessen the amount of tanks / healers in the game?
Yeah, I think that's
and kill the fun of a video game because of the actions of the top players. So let's leave that second part out for just a second. I hear you saying that you're worried that this is going to scare people away. But
yeah.
Okay. So do you want to expand on that anymore?
No, I was saying I'm not personally afraid because most of my dungeons I do with a group, with our guilds. I don't pug often unless I'm like really like way too addicted, right? So you guys go to bed too early and I've still got the fire going and I pug, and then I'm like, I can't find a tank already. Now I feel like finding a tank or a healer is very, very difficult.
Season 4 is in its own
all the seasons.
And the fixes too are scaring people away.
I think in that regard, Scrap, we are a very lucky few. I think
so
a lot of people
worried.
are going to feel the struggle Roar talks about.
Yeah, I see it. I can picture it. I feel like already there's less people playing tanks and healers. There's a lot of pressure on those classes already without the nerf. So I fear that it's just bad for the overall health of especially pugging, which I would say is not a healthy environment already. You don't need to make it sicker or worse.
You say that though, Scrap, but they've been tracking the numbers, and I can't remember where to find it on Reddit, but they've been tracking the numbers. Like, keys were at a spike, like they were gaining popularity throughout the seasons. There, of course, were their dips because of, like, season 4 is obviously in its own ballpark.
Yeah, huge dip. Yeah.
But like season 1 to 3 to 2 to 3, like there were more and more keys being done to the point where when I saw the list last, which was the start of I think mid season 3, you know, they were at an all-time high. Like they were the most popular they've ever been. So like keys are definitely getting done. And I would say that pugging has to probably reflect that too, because with the cross realm and cross faction edition of it as well, finding keys is a lot easier for me now. And again, excluding the season 4.
You play a mage.
Yeah, but
and a tank.
No, but I'm saying as a mage, like finding a key now is easier than it's ever been for me in pug situations, right?
Yeah.
Like I can get on. I used to be able to, and again, this was before we even really built the community, but like in Shadowlands, I would get on and say, okay, I want to run one key on Frank, and it would take 40 to 50 minutes to get like a key actually going because either I got declined the whole time or we couldn't find that tank. And I don't feel that pain anymore. Now, granted, usually it's because we can call on someone, but like, I definitely feel like it's better than it's ever been, and I'm hoping that will continue. So I don't think tanks and healers are driven away as like as many people are saying?
Overall, it's not as bad as I'm thinking. I might just have a skewed view because of the classes I play, but yeah, it's hard for me to say. Just I'm talking from my own point of view, and I'm not like somebody who's trying to get into keys that I haven't like. I'm talking about like I can't get into like a 10, like let's call it the season of 10 that I've already timed in a pug, like that I already have a 10 finished on that week.
That's been the case forever. Like
that.
Yeah,
you have a reputation about you too. So
yeah, no, I've been blacklisted clearly, but I'm saying that for me, I feel like it's hard for me to get into keys already, or find a tank for a key if I post it already.
Name change.
Maybe. I'm just talking from my point of view. I when War brought that up, it did kind of stir a fear of like, oh my gosh, like he's totally right.
We should pay attention to. Of course.
Yeah.
I feel like two things are true at the same time. I feel like it's something they should do, the changes they're making, personally, because I am very much on Frank's side of like healers should shield, DPS should BTS, and tank should tank. And I do think tanks could use a bit of a damage nerf at times. Like, you shouldn't be competing with the tank to try to DPS some of your DPS, because like their DPS is that good. So I think I like the idea of those things being more in line with what they actually are. But I also think it will take the fun out of it for certain people, because they loved going in a dungeon being like, I'm a demon hunter tank, I'm going to carry this whole thing. People also enjoy it, so I don't think they're intentionally trying to ruin people's fun. I think it will happen. Hopefully, like, people will over time embrace these changes if they hold to them, and just be like, oh, I still am a god in a way because I can absorb a certain amount of damage or whatever. I'm doing my job very well. So, okay. Yeah, I see where Roar's coming from, but I guess I choose to sit on the fence of it, the answer, and be like, I don't see it as necessarily fully a bad thing, but I can see his point of view.
So I'm quickly looking at Radar.io as we talk. And I just want to point one thing out to you, Scrap, real quick. There's a key here. It wasn't timed, of course, but it's like the lowest key ever committed on season 2 of Dragonflight. Take a guess at how long. Take a guess at how long it took for them to complete the key.
It was completed?
Yeah. Well, they finished it. It wasn't timed, of course, but they completed it. What do you think?
Is it less than a day?
It's 1 day and 30 minutes. They took
but that could
a whole 24 hours.
But that could be they like log. They're like, hey man, we gotta finish this tomorrow.
But I just thought that was amazing.
Cool head. There's no way that some fuckers were slamming their head against the key. I mean, we've done some 2 and 3 hour keys before, but yeah, we're probably on that list somewhere on the worst keys ever run.
And this is a very bad way to get this number, so please do not hold me to it. But I'm looking at the sample size of unique healers through Shadowlands, which was I'm at 1.5 million season 1, season 2, 800,000, so it went down pretty substantial in season 2. That's also when a lot of people were quitting WoW. Season 3, 800,000. I'm gonna skip season 4 because that's not relevant. Season 1 was 1.2 million, so we got the uptick. Season 2. 500,000 because of AUG evokers, most likely. Season 3. Jesus. Season 3, there was a total of... That can't be right. It says there were 11 million unique healers in season 3.
No, that can't be right.
There were 32 million keys done.
That can't be right. It just can't be right.
It can't be right. But anyways.
There's not 11 million people playing WoW.
Here's another way to look at the data, though. You got to consider...
You could have like 5 healers in one player, you know?
I mean, you got to consider too. It's not like the same amount of players. You know, so you got like newbies coming in and starting to do mythics now because there's not shit else for them to do because they beat the game in their minds. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense.
About?
What are you talking
your
about?
Your takes are so cold and out there today.
Yeah. So
yeah. Let me finish. Old man yells at cloud.
More people are doing mythics like it's a good thing, but dude, no one's coming
2 million.
back.
Dude, it's 2 million. It's 2 million.
Mythics.
2 million is the number.
2 million. That's a huge uptick.
Yeah.
No one went and was like, okay, well, I'm done doing mythics. Let me come back and do a couple more mythics in a couple weeks. No one did that. What's happening is the newbies The newbies finally are like, oh well, shit. Like, let's just do mythics because I'm bored too, and I haven't done that yet. That's what's happening.
Why is that a bad thing that people are trying different parts
What
of
are
the
you
game?
basing that on? Like, what facts are you gathering to get that take?
He's just
What
vibes.
facts are you gathering?
I'm using at
He's
least data.
numbers,
I'm pulling the numbers.
The data tells you that there was a dip in mythic play and then there was a boost in mythic play. That's what you're saying, right?
The numbers are telling me this was healers, unique healers. If you listen, was at a pretty healthy 1 million. It dipped when Shadowlands Season 2, which was when everyone was quitting. Dragonflight Season 1, everyone came back, 1.2 million. It dipped a little bit with augmentation. I guess.
Why do you think people came back?
Well, they were excited about the rebranding of
Frank,
WoW.
Maybe people played one of their 50 fucking alts and decided to heal.
No, but Frank, you have to look at the DPS numbers and see if it's an even proportion of DPS dipping. Like, I think you just say players dip.
No. I'm looking at the overall as well sample size, and as I said earlier, like that's grown every season other than Season 2 of Shadowlands. It looks like. I'm curious to see if people are abandoning healing. And again, this is very quick number poll. Yeah. Very quick number poll. It could be way wrong. I'm just like, this is the only thing I could think of quickly. But it does look like more people are more unique characters, because again, some people might be playing more tunes in general. But in general, I mean, like what would be 500,000 more healers trying Mythic Plus. Let's put it that way, because Technique might be right. There might be more people trying it now.
Yeah.
That's I think a good sign. I could try to do tanks real quick if you want, but like, let's see. Season 1 of Dragonflight.
But
1.1
Frank,
million.
I really think to like analyze this data, you need to like
make a spreadsheet.
Be competent at analyzing statistical data. Like, instead of just looking at it, be like, that number's bigger. You know, like I don't think we're giving good information here. But we always give kind of information, you know.
Yeah, no, that's what we're known for. We're the podcast for the rest of us.
Yeah, this is our vibes.
No, but like it's not surprising. Also, I guess that we should point out though, like because in general, I mentioned earlier, people completing mythic keys has gone up substantially as well. So that's like a good sign. I really don't think that this is scaring people away like everyone's dooming and glooming.
Well, we don't know because they're putting it in today, and we don't know if there's gonna be a big old walkout.
But this trend has been happening for months, if not past.
I honestly don't think like who's really dooming and glooming. I mean, between you and I, the two tanks in this group.
Well, Max is
I think we're indicative of the community.
Is an L, and everyone, 60% of people were agreeing with him.
Max isn't even good. Wow.
I'm curious if we put up a poll if it's going to be as divisive as
I'll put up a poll about this, about if this is a W or an L. We'll see how it goes.
L or W.
Put up a poll, is Max even good at WoW or not?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
that'll be more of a Twitter poll.
Mike's poll should be, was Technique drunk for the entirety of this podcast?
I'm actually not.
Okay.
Dude, he's firing on all cylinders.
Second part of the question was about, is this because of what the top players are doing? And
no.
I don't think that's the case either. Right?
I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's probably for the tier that we play at, where people can complete a key with 4 DPS. I mean, people aren't doing that at 28. Like, they're doing that at 21.
Well, no, but like they might, like the people that are doing 28s might be doing 10s at like 4-man DPSing.
Yeah, that's fine. At that level, it's fine. Sorry, at 10s. I keep converting because I didn't play a lot this season.
But I don't think that they're going to be impacted by this anyways. They'd still do that.
No, I think the majority of people doing 10s are not the top players, right? And I think that's where the shenaniganry takes place. So I don't think this is being influenced by the top players.
I don't.
Maybe the majority of players.
As far as Roar's comment comes from, I'm not sure that it's based on the top players, but I do agree with the first part of his comment.
Well, he literally said, "Why are they doing this?" Or they're doing this because.
That part I don't necessarily agree with, but I do agree with the whole, like, it's going to make it a little more complicated for people to want to tank or heal.
To be fair, we're speaking
way, though,
from we're speaking from the perspective of the mid players. Like, we don't know really what's going on in the top player space besides what we see in logs and what we hear about people talk about, you know? So maybe he sees something that we don't, but I mean, I feel like this is a response to like a tank being able to solo the last 10% of a boss, and I don't see that happening in a 28. So I mean, or at 17. I don't know what.
Well, and when I look at these numbers, right, some of them are pretty drastic. Like, we talked about the 20% dip of defensive stance. I think it was, right. Yeah. Like that's gonna hurt, but I don't think it's gonna really change a lot. right? Like my Word of Glory, yeah, I'm taking like I have 3% less stamina and I'm taking maybe 10% less block and all that stuff. But like it wasn't like I was fluctuating so close to the razor edge of death. Like I was for the most part very rarely sweating. Like I was just like, no, this is fine. I got it, guys. Don't worry. I just had to keep generating wogs as much as I could, but I was not really worried about it. Yes, there might be more likely I'm worried about it, but I don't think this is really going to change it that much.
But Frank, think if you were like, I mean, your tank is geared at the highest level currently for season 4. You would say that?
No, they're not, but that's fine.
But in past seasons during Dragonflight, you were close at least, right?
Yeah.
Maybe missing that mythic gear or whatever. But you weren't doing those high keys like the 26, 27, or in this case like a 16, 17. And that's because it becomes hard to keep yourself alive, right? And for healers to heal you. So it already is difficult.
But then doesn't that prove Roar's point that this is done for the top end players?
No, because I think in the top level players you do have to have defensives, right? Like, and the healers do have to be healing a lot.
No.
But like I said, it might be completely out of touch with what they're doing in these keys.
They definitely do. I don't want to dilute that. But what I'm saying is that because their self-healing is so strong, especially
they make mega pulls.
That the healer doesn't have to worry about them, right? They're more worried about maybe even doing more mechanics, let alone more healing,
I wasn't thinking about like stuff they
obviously.
do. Yeah, the stuff they do in like the MDI and stuff where they can do they can pull all of Algathar Academy, for example. And it's like they probably wouldn't be able to do that if their survivability wasn't as high as it is. So it's possible that that's what why they're doing this, and that's what Roar is referring to. But I don't know. It's hard for me to make
I think my point is that it's going to affect everyone, of course, right?
Yeah, it's going to affect everyone. But I'm just picturing how it'll affect us.
I'm worried, like, yes, it's done because of the top end players, but it's also done because I, as a tank just doing a 10, not worried about being a top end player, could take it. Like, I worry that part of the problem where I'm soloing the boss at the end isn't really solved for. Right?
Oh, with these changes.
And I worry that there may not even be a way to solve that problem. So, I guess that, we'll put a pin on it.
I think that problem solves itself, and that how long does it take you to do that last 10%? You're punished by the timer. So
yeah, but I mean it's better than wiping.
Less punished than a wipe. Yeah, less punished than a wipe, but it's still like we're not planning on you soloing the last 10% of any boss.
No,
that's not part of our plan. No, it happens, but it's not part of our plan.
I know,
so
I just don't
big of a problem.
I like at the end of it. I don't think this is going to solve the problem that maybe they stated with the idea that the tank is staying alive for so long. But I don't mind that it's also going to be harder to tank because, like I said, I want to keep thinking about my defensives more frequently. I want to be more ready for things that, like, I should be watching that cast timer, and I should be watching.
Frank, you as a tank have way too much time on your hands because you're doing way too much.
Well, okay, yes, but then the shot caller question comes up. Is like, okay, well then I'm going to be more at capacity.
Well, the higher the keys, the more people should be responsible for calling their own shots.
Yeah, Scrap. Is that normally the case with runs that you're in?
Well, I would say runs that I'm in, I say, I'm going to kick X, and then I see you fucking shield it, and I'm like, okay, I'm not kicking anything for the rest of the run. You did that, so... so maybe that's an impact. Yeah.
All right, let's wrap things up. I want to remind everyone, and I appreciate everyone that's been joining our Discord. Please go to mythicdungeonleague.com. Please follow us on Twitter. Please follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/MDLFrank. Please join our Discord and do some key runs with us. I am sure that when the pre-patch launches, we're going to be wanting to do more runs than we normally would because we want to test out our new talent trees. I'm sure even Scrap will be brought back.
The keys are going away, though.
The keys are still there. They're just not going to be worth, they'll be worth gear, but they won't be worth points or anything.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, just to test, even if it was just to test out the new talent trees would be nice.
I don't need any fucking gear or points. Like, I don't even.
No, we don't care. Do you think when you come back for the season, are any three of you going to worry about trying to be more competitive when War Within starts?
Then season 4, yeah.
Yeah, no, but in general.
The level of competitive that I always am, I think I'm going to be at when I get to that 20 level or whatever it is, 10 level. And it depends if I'm personally doing a lot of damage, then I do feel more motivated to push higher. But once I get those portals,
you're going to want to go.
Yeah, because it's easier for me to get into keys, and so it's easier for me to pug. but like I'm typically happy just picking up my portals and then helping everybody else get their portals. Like that's where I'm the happiest. We might push up to that 12, 13 or something. Like I love doing that with you guys, but pushing points past that is like,
yeah, it's just not fun because
I
it's
don't give
too
a crap.
terrifying. I've
If you have to
decided that I'm
if
going to
you
play
have
my
to pug, I
mage,
don't
so
like it.
I feel like I'm going to be a lot more competitive next season.
Okay.
So
Who's tanking?
Lithian.
Lithian.
Tank for us.
Oh,
Or
Lithian's
Technique, of course, if he
tanking.
plays, but he never does because he's playing hardcore. Hey, what
I'll
was
play.
last week's bet? Shawnee,
What was
Squad
the bet?
you guys
Oh,
bet
yeah.
100 million gold on Technique
Yep.
making it past
I
the level
should
37.
no hands.
I died because my cat turned off my computer, dude. Right as I pulled some spiders, my cat just like sat, hit fucking paw
like-
right on my power button.
That's like dog ate my
And-
homework. I'm
Yep.
sure he just
Yeah.
ate shit to spiders like really
I was so
gracelessly.
pissed. And the worst thing is, cat doesn't even taste good, man. So I couldn't even. I just had to throw it away.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
All right.
No, but seriously, that's really frustrating.
I bet, man.
But I have a mage that was just sitting at level 20.
Thank God
so
I
that's
didn't
what
give
I'm
you my
playing
gold,
now.
though.
Oh, it would have been on my. I keep the gold in my bank. I didn't lose any gold. I lost like 2 gold.
Yeah.
I don't keep gold on my dudes. So I'm playing.
Okay. Shawnee, final thoughts.
Can't wait for pre-patch.
You're going to be doing the event.
I will be doing the event.
Okay. Scrapclaw, final thoughts.
I said all I need to say.
Okay. Technique, final thoughts.
Maybe Mojo can tank with Lithian, and I'll DPS as a warrior.
That's
Okay.
your thoughts?
Sure. Yeah.
Interesting. Very
Mojo's-
creative.
No, we'll
Mojo's
see.
good
We'll see. No, honestly, I'm kidding. I love the tank, man. I'm excited. I just want to do something different. I'm excited about some change, and I think that the tank thing's overall a good thing if they do it right. I don't want to feel like a weakling, kiting and locking down and trying to balance like threat gen and damage.
Well, locking down, I
Yeah.
think, is good, but kiting is.
Well, of course, you always want to lock down, but what I mean is, like, I don't want to have to stop and like step out of melee range and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope it doesn't become that again. If it does, I probably won't enjoy tanking. But
My final thought is that I think kiting is not necessarily even a result of how they balance it. I think kiting's just like what happens when we're in keys that we're not supposed to be in. That
well,
makes
sure.
sense.
I mean, that's one thing.
Running for your life because you're
Yeah,
scared.
Right?
Like that's totally different. But if I'm like, pushing max level and I'm still having to kite 4 to 5 weeks, that doesn't feel good.
Well, but like kiting at level like 10 or level 20 keys.
Well, this season, like a level 10, I don't want to be kiting that shit.
Yeah,
ever.
okay. I agree with that.
I
think that's
feel
a
like
fair statement.
kiting is something that's in the tank toolkit, right? Like you have abilities that make it easier for you to kite. So
Yeah, but do you think it's a fun gameplay?
I've never taked, so
It's not.
it sounds fun. It looks
Yeah.
fun.
No,
When people are-
it's not,
it looks
because then you
fun.
have to also think about, well, if I turn my back on anything, and the
It's
lieutenant
also-
doesn't get
Heroic
slowed.
leap away. How hard is
I
that?
can't generate threat if I'm kiting.
Wheelchair class. Yeah,
And
that
other
too.
classes can. Like,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
have Avengers Shield, so
All right.
I have to be in the yeah, anyway. Yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes.
I'm looking forward to another episode with y'all. Next week, we're going to talk a lot about meta and tier lists.
Yay.
The company or?
No.
Yep.
No. And then we'll of course talk about our feelings on the new talent trees and pre-patch stuff. All right.
All right.
Thanks again for
Sounds
everyone for
good.
listening. I thought this episode was going to be short. Nope. Hour and whatever 40 minutes in.
They're never
getting
short.
longer.
Right back where we are.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. They're getting
we'll try
longer.
again next week. All right.
Next week we won't talk as much.
Thanks for listening to Around the Mage Table, the podcast for the rest of us. We'll see y'all next week. Take care.